Hey, it's Luke here from LT Gaming. Imagine a Punic Wars strategy game where the map itself behaves like a battlefield, where the borders aren't those neat, tidy lines, but with something you actually push and pull with armies, influence, and logistics. That's Carthage Bellum Punicum, and it's a hell of a name to keep saying throughout the video, so I'll maybe shorten it at some stage. If you're into the second Punic War, and I mean, let's face it, who isn't these days? I'm talking Hannibal, Rome, Scipio, elephants, giant battles, and even bigger mistakes. This one is looking like a proper wargamer's kind of project, if that makes sense. Before we dive any deeper, a quick call to action. If you want more deep-cut historical strategy games on the channel, stuff that's trying to do its own thing instead of copying the same template, drop us a like. It shows the YouTube gods that we're ready to pick up our weapons and go to war at LT Gaming. So at its core, Carthage Bellum Punicum is a historical strategy wargame. I mean, yes, I want more of these on the channel. Set in the 3rd century BCE. Didn't that used to be BC? I mean, whatever. If it's the modern way, I'll go with it. During the Second Punic War, of course. You're commanding major powers, Carthage, Rome, and potentially other factions looking to take advantage of the chaos. And the pitch is basically grand campaign decision-making backed up by real-time tactical battles, kind of like Total War. That was definitely the comparison that me and Tom made when we were checking this one out. The Steam page is making that big promise of deep simulation, dynamic borders on the campaign map, logistics that actually move through the world, and command delays where orders travel via messengers instead of instant telepathy, which was very well implemented in the recent title Strategos. And the dev's been pretty clear about the why behind all of this. It's meant to feel like a real ancient campaign. Messy, delayed, reactive, not a clean board game where everything happens the second you click it. And just like in Strategos, we're seeing this become more and more popular, that level of realism in our wargames. This game really stands out to me as worth a look because it's indie Total War and it just looks super interesting. However, the dev is pushing a few features that if they land could give Carthage Bellum Punicum its own identity, and that's very important. First is the individual soldier's approach, not just abstract blocks moving around but actual soldiers being simulated at scale, with the dev saying the game uses the GPU to help handle huge numbers. This kind of implemented mass combat with individual unit statistics could be an absolute selling point here. Second is the campaign map concept, borders that shift based on influence and where your armies operate. So if you push into enemy territory, you're not just stepping over a line, you're basically painting the map with presence and pressure. And third is the theme running through everything, time and friction. Orders, diplomacy and resources all take time in this game, and that adds to the pressure. This means your perfect plan can still get ruined because reality happened. So what's new and developing with this project? I've been taking a look at the devlogs and talking to the developer himself, and what I'm seeing is not just new units and new polish, but systems getting layered on top of systems, and it's looking really strong. Earlier devlogs are where the foundations got set, the campaign map idea with dynamic borders, the development of the proper logistics layer, and the general direction of time and distance should matter within this game. Then, as the logs roll on, you start seeing the signature features really coming into focus. The individual soldier's approach, battlefields being generated from campaign terrain, and more campaign pressure from things like weather and seasons. And then by the time I went through devlog 9, I could see where he's been putting everything together. Raiding, conquest, war and diplomacy, with that really cool idea that diplomacy isn't just instant. Messages have to physically travel, wars can kick off before the declaration arrives, and caravans can be intercepted. It's all trying to make the campaign feel like a living system, not a board game you're pushing tokens around. The other thing the dev highlighted to me was the customization of units, and it looked a really cool system thus far. This is a really good time to remind you to wishlist the project, but also jump into the dev's Discord. Having community engagement on indie projects really helps drive them and keeps the devs focused and passionate. I'll leave all the information for the Discord in the description below. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. Now it's time for that LT Gaming reality check. This is an ambitious simulation-heavy wargame still in development for a 2026 release window. And there is a demo in the works, but I have heard the actual game could slip into 2027, but hey, I don't know the details of that yet. Even the dev's own notes point out some areas that are still very much work in progress. And when you're simulating messengers, caravans, populations, armies, stamina, dynamic borders, the fear is always the same. Is it stable? Does it communicate what's happening easily to the player? And how do you prevent it turning into a spreadsheet simulator? Also, the huge scale individual soldier simulation sounds incredible, but it naturally raises the performance question. The Steam page itself lists fairly modest minimum requirements, but scale and late game load are the real test here. So I'm definitely excited, but I'm trying to stay grounded on this one as it's still some time off, even if we do get that demo this year. But hey, you can never be too early on LT gaming, it's really what we do here. So thinking ahead to comparisons, I mean the obvious one, I've already touched on it, is Total War. And to be fair, the game is playing in that space. Grand campaign meets tactical battles, iconic clashes, and that rewrite history fantasy. But it does seem like it's doing its own thing with that Punic Wars campaign. With the dynamic borders, the messengers, the caravans, and the delays, it's less arcade conquest and more operational warfare. Now, my other major concern here is this game does have mobile roots. There is a version available, I believe, though I haven't played it or seen it. So the dev really has to scale this up into a full PC level wargame. It's a concern for me because I'm definitely not a mobile gamer. I like my depth and my immersion, but I do think what we've seen so far shows that he is scaling this to another level. My big hope for this game is honestly pretty simple. Keep leaning into what makes it different, but make it easy to get into and satisfying to control. Because it's all cool stuff here. To be honest, it's absolutely brilliant. As long as the game tells you what's happening without you needing a degree in guessing what the AI just did. If the UI and feedback are solid, this could generate those proper only in the campaign moments where timing and logistics matter as much as the battle itself. The dev was also very kind to share unique footage with LT Gaming, so some of this has never been seen before, so definitely eat it up. You've got some incredible battle footage here that looks excellent, the individual soldier levels, and some really cool immersive things happening. Armies forming from camps, some awesome campaign layers stuff, and just really engaging battles. I really want to see the game develop this and actually be a rival, an indie rival let's say, to Total War. And also something for us operational and strategic wargamers. Carthage Bellum Punicum is early, but it's one of those projects that feels like it's aiming above its weight class, and I respect that massively. It reminds me of that line from the movie The Big Short, if any of you know that, about the 2008 financial crash. I might be early, but I'm not wrong. I've just got a real thing about that movie, especially Margot Robbie in a bubble bath. I mean, you know, okay, I'm getting distracted now, let's get back on track. If it can nail some of its big aspects, individual soldier scale, dynamic influence-based borders, and that messenger system I keep banging on about, it could end up being one of the most interesting historical wargames to watch heading through 2026. And if we get that demo fairly soon, I just know a lot of you are going to get very hands-on with it. So there we go, LT Gaming bring you another awesome wargame in the pipeline. Make sure to do all that YouTube stuff and definitely comment what you think about this one. I need wargamers' opinions here. I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.